A gloved hand elegantly gathers a swirling vortex of cosmic power. A silver-haired youth channels this energy, determined to master its every secret. With a clenched fist and fierce resolve, he vows to defy his dark destiny. The story flashes back to Vanitas Lindworm, a ruthless nobleman from a novel. His past was a trail of cruelty, a path that led to a lonely, grim end. Our hero realizes he's been reborn as this very same universally despised character. Now a young boy with delicate wings, he confronts his new reflection in a mirror. He studies the face of the villain, confirming his unbelievable new reality. Assessing his situation, he notes his surprisingly frail body and his teenage years. As he takes a drink, the fragmented memories of his new life begin to crystallize. He recalls the moment he first awoke, a disorienting blur where his own identity was a mystery. Two tearful faces, his new parents, loom over him, overjoyed that he's finally conscious. Surrounded by worried family and staff, he learns he had been unconscious for several days. Back in the present, he sets down his glass, the past finally making sense as his memories return. He confirms the incredible truth. He lived a past life in an entirely different world. And in that former life, he remembers discovering a very specific novel. Memories of a modern world flood back, skyscrapers, bustling streets, a life left behind. He can't recall the title, but the story within that book is now unforgettable. Because inside its pages, he read all about the life of Vanitas Lindworm. He was the main character's rival, a villain destined to torment the story's heroines. He recalls the original Vanitas' fate. Defeated by the hero, he tormented the heroines and died utterly alone. Sitting in his new room, he questions the cruel twist of fate that brought him into this villain's body. A cold dread washes over him. If he follows the script, his own destruction is guaranteed. He clenches his fist, absolutely refusing to accept such a pathetic and miserable end. With newfound resolve, he immediately begins gathering all the information he can find. In the vast family library, he confirms the fated duel with the protagonist is an unavoidable event. But as despair sets in, a single brilliant idea sparks in his mind: magic. He remembers this world is filled with incredible power, a force limited only by the caster's imagination. The original Vanitas, however, was a fool who only ever used the most basic and unimpressive spells. But his memories of the novel hold a secret, a forgotten ancient magic deemed impossible to master. He slams his hand on the desk, having found the answer in the novel's hidden lore. It's a magic so difficult that only he, with his past life knowledge, even knows it exists. He focuses on mastering this grasping magic, feeling the potential power in his hand. His eyes gleam with understanding. This magic allows him to manipulate any matter in existence. Staring out the window, he realizes this incredible power is his one chance to rewrite his destiny. He attempts to conjure the magic, but the sparkling energy immediately fizzles into nothing. Resting his hand on a book, he accepts that mastering this ability will be a long and arduous journey. But a small, determined smile plays on his lips, hinting he has a plan. As night falls over the grand estate, he rests, his mind already plotting his next move. He greets the new morning with a yawn, ready to begin his secret training. A knock at the door interrupts his thoughts on the massive library he'd spent all night exploring. A timid young maid enters, offering his morning tea and a change of clothes. He casually dismisses her with a wave, telling her to simply place the tray down. He's noticed something unsettling about her behavior over the past few days. Her hands tremble uncontrollably as she pours his tea, and he knows the grim reason for her fear. While reading, his hand moves on its own, causing the terrified maid to flinch away from his touch. He realizes with a shock that his body still carries the cruel muscle memory of the original Vanitas. Overwhelmed with terror, the maid hastily excuses herself and practically bolts from the room. Staring at his hand, he considers how deeply ingrained habits are, even in a new soul. But he can't dwell on it now, because today is a very special and perhaps fateful day. He recalls the two primary factors that sealed the original Vanitas' tragic fate. The first was losing the three heroines who would eventually turn against him. The second was his ultimate, unavoidable defeat by the story's protagonist. He remembers the first heroine, Rabna, a rare and valuable beastman with rabbit ears. Then there's Hildegard, the cheerful but battle-obsessed female knight from another country. And finally, Christina, the impossibly beautiful and proud daughter of a disgraced noble family. He knows that today is his first meeting with them, a critical chance to build a better relationship. In his memory, they were the bright, smiling heroines of the story he once read. But the girls standing before him now are anything but cheerful, their faces cold and wary. Assembled in his room, the three of them formally address him as their master, awaiting his command. He tries to greet them, but their lifeless eyes tell him everything he needs to know. A chilling thought strikes him. If he can't change their perception, his fate is sealed. He recalls the novel. These girls were tormented by the original Vanitas and have every reason to hate him. He attempts a friendly approach, hoping a kind word might break through their hardened exteriors. Deciding to focus on one, he calls Christina forward, much to her confusion. He steps closer, intending to change the script by starting with a compliment. He recalls a scene from the novel where the original Vanitas praised Christina's appearance. Trying to recreate the moment, he leans in unexpectedly, invading her personal space and causing her to panic. Her fear takes over and she violently shoves him away in a desperate act of self-preservation. He immediately apologizes for his forwardness, while a flustered Christina stammers her own apology for reacting so strongly. He explains he simply wanted a closer look at Christina's face. His unexpected compliments on her beauty leave the proud knight completely stunned and blushing. Flustered, she accuses him of being unfair, unable to process the sudden kindness. He recalls a key detail from the novel. Christina was only ever attracted to the original Vanitas' appearance. Just as the book described, a simple compliment is enough to leave her completely overwhelmed. With one heroine successfully flustered, he turns his attention to the next, calling out Rabna's name. He commands the terrified girl to approach, the ticking clock amplifying the tension in the room. He knows that of all the heroines, Rabna suffered the most under the original Vanitas' cruelty. A dark memory from the novel resurfaces, showing how the villain tormented her for his own amusement. He breaks the script again, gently taking her hands and pulling her close, leaving everyone in utter shock. He calmly asks if she expects him to be cruel, then dismisses the thought with a wave. Instead of a blow, his hand gently lands on her long, soft rabbit ear. He begins to pet her head, complimenting her fur and leaving the terrified girl utterly speechless. The knight Hildegard steps in to defend her, but Vanitas simply states he's not finished yet. Overwhelmed by the unexpected kindness, Rabna is reduced to a blushing, stammering mess. He coolly reassures Hildegard that everything is perfectly fine, much to her confusion. His audacity grows as he then asks if he can also touch Rabna's tail, shocking Hildegard. Unable to watch any longer, Hildegard lunges forward, demanding he stop immediately. The other two heroines now stand guard, questioning his bizarre and unsettling intentions. He turns away with a sigh, lamenting that his actions have only made them more suspicious of him. With the other two flustered, his focus shifts to the final heroine, Hildegard, who has been observing him carefully. A sudden flash of insight strikes him as he finally understands the key to winning her over. Hildegard remains deeply conflicted, unable to reconcile his apparent weakness with the strange strength she now senses. He recalls that her warrior tribe is honor-bound to protect the weak and respect the strong. In her eyes, the original Vanitas was a frail boy she should have been protecting, not fearing. He realizes Hildegard isn't just watching him, she's trying to understand the new soul in the villain's body. Her warrior's intuition tells her that the person standing before her is not the same cruel master she once knew. Instead of words, he makes a simple hand gesture, a silent challenge for a one-on-one duel. Her entire demeanor changes as her eyes light up, eagerly accepting his proposal to fight. Vanitas knows he's made the right move. For a battle-obsessed knight, this is the only language she truly understands. He leads them outside, confidently proposing a mock battle to settle things. This isn't just a duel, it's the perfect opportunity to test his newly acquired grasping magic. He chooses a spot in the garden, ready to finally unleash the ancient power he's been studying. With a confident smirk, he formally challenges the stoic Hildegard to begin the duel. Hildegard's warrior blood stirs. She's from a proud tribe that demands a serious fight. He meets her intensity with his own, eager to gauge the limits of his current abilities. He focuses his will, attempting to manifest the volatile grasping magic for the first time in combat. Christina protests, fearing for his safety, but he insists this is the only way to prove he's changed. The other two heroines can only watch, wondering if this truly is a new Vanitas standing before them. The knight accepts his resolve and Vanitas raises the stakes, daring her to attack with her full magical power. Without hesitation, Hildegard unleashes a powerful blast of magic as the other heroines watch in horror. Unfazed, Vanitas raises a hand, his eyes glinting with a confident challenge. The magical projectile slams directly into his face with explosive force. Hildegard freezes in shock, realizing she may have gone too far as the others gasp. Christina panics, having warned him about the danger of a real fight. He's sent flying backward, crashing hard onto the ground as Rabna cries out in concern. Lying on the ground, a faint sound escapes his lips, but his eyes are still open. He rises to his feet, laughing off the attack and taunting her for holding back. With a determined grin, he encourages Hildegard to attack with the same ferocity again. As Christina calls out his name in disbelief, he calmly tells her that he's perfectly fine. He wipes his face, revealing he's already figured out her magic and woven his own power into it. He confidently invites her to continue the duel, and the knight hesitantly agrees. Hildegard unleashes a rapid-fire barrage of magical projectiles, no longer holding back. The relentless assault slams into him, kicking up dust and debris as he's pushed back. Christina and Rabna watch in horror, convinced their master is in serious danger. Seeing him still standing, Hildegard focuses her power for an even more potent blast. Though battered, Vanitas's eyes remain sharp, a faint sparkle of energy hinting at his true power. He raises a single hand, and the deadly attack dissipates into nothing before it can reach him. As Hildegard stares in utter disbelief, he gives her a cocky wink, completely unfazed. He stands tall amidst the scarred battlefield, having completely overturned her expectations. The other two heroines watch in concern, noting his handsome face is now covered in dirt. Despite the damage, Vanitas grins, telling a surprised Hildegard that he's having a great time. A blush creeps onto Hildegard's face. She finds his potential to grow stronger incredibly exciting. Catching his breath, he declares it's time for the final round, promising to show her his true ability. He challenges her to a real fight, daring her to unleash her full, unrestrained power against him. The other heroines can only watch, their anxiety growing with every passing moment. Hildegard accepts, gathering a formidable amount of energy and announcing this is everything she has. She unleashes a colossal vortex of earth magic, a devastating final attack. The massive projectile barrels towards Vanitas as his companions look on in sheer terror. With a determined glint in his eye, he extends a glowing hand, ready to activate his grasping magic. He unleashes a torrent of crackling energy, finally revealing the true nature of his grasping magic. The ancient power surges forward, colliding with Hildegard's attack in a brilliant explosion. In a flash, he closes the distance and seizes her wrist, stunning everyone with his speed and audacity. Dark tendrils of energy wrap around her arm, a testament to the volatile power he now commands. Hildegard finds herself completely immobilized, bound by ethereal chains she cannot break. Kneeling before her, Vanitas calmly states that this is the limit of his current abilities. He explains his magic is absorbing the surrounding energy, rendering her own power useless against him. With a reassuring smile, he tells her not to worry, as the bindings will soon fade. But the strain of using such immense power suddenly takes its toll on his frail body. He collapses backward, his consciousness fading as the heroines rush to his side in a panic. Hildegard catches him, her concern overriding her shock as he weakly apologizes for his collapse. The other two heroines gather around, their previous fear replaced with genuine worry for their master. Christina stares at her hand, still tingling from the remnants of his overwhelming power. Hildegard realizes his incredible display of strength proves he's nothing like the weakling she once knew. The three girls look down at him, collectively wondering if he's even the same person anymore. A wild theory forms in their minds. Could this new master be someone reincarnated into Vanitas's body? He cuts through their confusion, declaring that the cruel master they once knew is gone for good. His words hang in the air, leaving the three heroines completely stunned by the revelation. Sitting together on the scarred battlefield, they struggle to process his unbelievable claim. Vanitas reveals his true goal, to defy his dark fate, and he needs their help to do it. A stunned Christina can only stammer out her agreement to his incredible request. Rabna, still trembling slightly, also quietly accepts his offer to join forces. Only Hildegard responds with a bright, enthusiastic smile, fully on board with his plan. He gathers his new allies, determined to protect their futures and rewrite their shared destiny. His next challenge is far more personal, confessing his true reincarnated nature to his shocked parents. He sits them down and calmly explains the impossible truth of how he came to be in their son's body. After winning over the heroines, he knew he had to be honest with his new family as well. Though they are initially bewildered, his parents eventually accept the situation, allowing him to live as Vanitas. Several days later, a fragile peace settles over the Lindworm estate. Vanitas is enjoying a quiet moment when his father approaches, ready to begin a new chapter. His father notes that even the maids are whispering about his son's sudden change in personality. He recalls how the staff once lived in constant fear of the original Vanitas' cruelty. His father muses that the original Vanitas' cruelty was a facade, hiding a truly kind child underneath. He then reveals that this drastic change began after the death of someone named Noise. The truth is finally revealed. The original Vanitas' villainy was triggered by the tragic loss of his younger brother. This is brand new information, a hidden detail about a lost brother that was never mentioned in the novel. Shifting topics, his father announces that the magic tutor he requested has finally been hired. He reflects on his recent duel, knowing his grasping magic is still far too weak to truly change his fate. To truly master the ancient power, he understands he needs formal, expert instruction. His father then reveals the tutor has just arrived, asking if he's ready for the introduction. With a simple gesture, his father instructs the maid to bring the new tutor in. He explains to a curious Vanitas that this magic instructor is an old acquaintance from his school days. The maid quickly returns, announcing that she has brought the guest as requested. His father pictures a wise, powerful, and suitably ancient mage, the kind of mentor he expects. Vanitas' eyes widen with anticipation, wondering what kind of person his new teacher will be. A figure steps through the doorway, silhouetted by the light as flower petals drift through the air. But the person who enters is a handsome, silver-haired youth with a calm, knowing smile. Vanitas stares in utter disbelief as the newcomer, a perfect reflection of himself, stands before him. Completely stunned by the sight, he demands to know who this mysterious doppelganger is. The shocking truth is revealed. His new tutor is an identical, perfect copy of Vanitas himself. Vanitas studies his double, noticing a distinct softness in the tutor's otherwise identical features. His father addresses the tutor as Ernst, revealing the doppelganger's name and their familiar relationship. In a flash of light, the male tutor dramatically transforms into a stunningly beautiful woman. Vanitas confronts the woman, who casually confirms she was the one disguised as him just moments ago. With a charming smile, she formally introduces herself as Ashley Strayfall. She then cheerfully declares that she is the very magic tutor he's been waiting for. His father explains that Ashley's innate magical attribute is the power of transformation. Vanitas realizes he's read about this rare and powerful form of magic before in the family library. He considers the incredible potential of a magic that can so completely alter one's form. This mysterious new tutor is known by a legendary title, the Phantom Ashley. Vanitas listens intently as his father reveals Ashley's significant role in establishing the Empire's current peace. He learns she once led a top-secret intelligence unit for the Ministry of Magic, a past shrouded in mystery. Ashley just smiles bashfully, finding the formal introduction a little embarrassing. But Vanitas is completely floored when she mentions it's been over 20 years since she last saw his father. He recalls that this world is home to long-lived demi-human races, just like the beastman Rabna. He confirms the unbelievable timeline with his father, who casually agrees they've known each other for decades. The realization dawns on him: Ashley must belong to a race that remains eternally youthful. He directly asks the beautiful tutor if she is in fact an elf. She playfully confirms she's far older than his father, despite her youthful appearance. With a mischievous smile, Ashley declares her true age is a well-guarded secret. Vanitas finds himself intrigued by this mysterious tutor and her legendary transformation magic. Ashley wastes no time, requesting a demonstration of his power at the training grounds. As they head out, Vanitas senses they're not alone, noticing a presence in the hallway. He spots the three heroines spying on him, clearly curious about his new guest. They arrive at a vast empty training hall, the perfect stage for what's to come. Ashley begins the lesson by apologizing for her dramatic entrance and the shock of seeing his double. She then cuts to the chase, revealing she knows all about the original Vanitas' terrible reputation. The tutor confirms she knows he wants to learn the legendary grasping magic, a power no one has ever mastered. She questions his resolve, asking if he truly believes he has what it takes to learn the impossible. Vanitas demands to know what she means, but her cryptic silence only deepens the mystery. Ashley explains her transformation magic is feared because it allows her to perfectly impersonate others. Vanitas realizes his own knowledge of transformation was basic, while Ashley's power is on another level entirely. She admits that, despite its uses in espionage, her ability has earned her a harsh and lonely reputation. The tutor warns him that mastering grasping magic could lead him down the same path of being feared by all. She challenges him directly, asking if he still wishes to learn, knowing the potential social cost. With a brilliant smile, Vanitas declares his unwavering desire to learn, confident she can broaden his horizons. He claps his hands together, ready to prove he's already grasped a fundamental truth about magic. Conjuring a small spark, he tells a surprised Ashley that magic is meant to be enjoyed, not just feared. He then asks if he's anything like the cruel villain she heard about, or if meeting him has changed her mind. Vanitas states he has no intention of harming anyone for his own gain, a vow that proves his transformation is real. He confidently challenges her perception, asking if he truly seems like the villain she's heard about. Ashley's experience on the battlefield tells her his eyes hold no malice, only clarity. Vanitas suggests his kindness could be a facade, a clever disguise for his true desires. She firmly disagrees, stating she can't sense any intent to harm others within him. With a warm smile, she tells him to stop pretending to be evil, as she can see right through the act. Her sharp intuition leaves Vanitas flustered, finding her unexpectedly difficult to deal with. Ashley thanks him for his honesty, admitting that this lesson is becoming quite enjoyable for her too. She recalls his earlier request to see a wider world, a promise she now intends to fulfill. The tutor announces her own transformation, preparing to reveal her true magical beast form. Surrounded by a blazing aura, she transforms into a powerful tiger beastman, ready to show him everything she's capable of. Vanitas is stunned as his tutor declares the first lesson is about to begin. She suggests starting with a practical demonstration, revealing the true terrifying scale of her phantom magic. He finally understands the true essence of transformation magic as the legendary tutor prepares for battle. This isn't just a disguise, it's a complete shift into an entirely different powerful creature. Her predatory eyes narrow as a low, menacing growl rumbles through the training hall. The beast unleashes a deafening roar, its sheer force sending shockwaves toward the young noble. Vanitas reacts instantly, raising his arm to counter the overwhelming pressure with his own magic. A massive wall of jagged ice erupts from the floor, separating the student from his ferocious teacher. His quick thinking has created a formidable barrier, momentarily halting the beast's advance. But Ashley walks forward unfazed, the ground around her now a frozen wasteland from his defensive spell. Vanitas breaks into a cold sweat, feeling the suffocating pressure from her mere presence. The colossal beast takes a single, ground-shaking step forward, its growl echoing through the hall. In a flash, she lunges with a ferocious roar, her claws ready to strike him down. He barely manages to react, gritting his teeth as the force of her attack grazes him. Standing amid the debris of his own spell, he realizes he predicted her move but was too slow to evade it. He concludes her speed is on an entirely different level, far surpassing even the knight Hildegard. The ferocious beast dissolves into light, revealing Ashley in her human form once more. She calmly suggests they end the practical lesson there, seeing the state he's in. Ashley admits that perhaps starting with a full-blown combat demonstration was a bit premature, but Vanitas questions her decision, demanding to know why she's stopping the lesson now. He stares at her with fierce determination, insisting she continue because he needs to become stronger. His sudden declaration of needing power leaves the legendary tutor momentarily surprised. He explains that he has precious people to protect, and for their sake, he must gain this strength. Ashley understands his resolve, her gaze softening as she notices the three heroines watching from afar. She confirms that protecting them is his one non-negotiable goal, a truth he readily affirms. With a knowing smile, she warns him against self-destructive training, reminding him of what's at stake. She gestures towards the heroines, pointing out that he already has people who are waiting for him. The three girls offer their support, their faces a mix of worry, encouragement, and quiet faith. Realizing they are praying for his safety, he straightens his tie, his resolve hardening once more. Vanitas turns back to his new teacher, his eyes gleaming with a newfound sense of purpose. He formally requests that she continue the lesson, his resolve unshakable. His tutor agrees, preparing another demonstration of her formidable power. Later, Vanitas soaks in a luxurious bath, recovering from the intense training session. He marvels at the sheer size of the family's private bath, a luxury he's still getting used to. He reflects on the brutal lesson, feeling the new power in his body even as it aches from the strain. Vanitas decides that relaxing in a grand bath is the perfect way to recover from his exhaustion. His peaceful moment is suddenly shattered by the sound of frantic voices echoing from the hallway. The bathroom doors burst open, revealing an unexpected and energetic visitor. The three heroines barge in, dressed for the occasion and led by an enthusiastic Hildegard. A flustered Christina clutches her simple bathing attire, clearly embarrassed by the situation. Hildegard excitedly pulls a hesitant Christina forward, insisting they all go for a swim together. The noblewoman panics, realizing their master will see her in such revealing attire. A wave of mortification washes over her, her expression frozen in shock. Vanitas calmly turns to the flustered noblewoman, who stammers out his name in surprise. He then extends a casual invitation for her to join him, much to her utter disbelief. Hildegard wraps an arm around the still hesitant Christina, urging her to come into the water. Deciding for her, the knight gives her a playful shove and they both dash towards the bath's edge. He watches them with a cool expression, understanding the knight's urge to swim in such a large bath. The noblewoman freezes in horror, realizing her simple bathing clothes have become unexpectedly revealing in the water. The energetic knight pays her no mind, playfully splashing water and inviting a hesitant Rabna to join in. The noblewoman panics, trying to cover herself as she complains about her see-through attire. Vanitas simply watches the lively scene, finding the whole situation rather amusing. His relaxation is interrupted by the arrival of his tutor, Ashley, who has decided to join the fun. She casually enters the bath, announcing that she'll be intruding on their time together. Ashley observes the three heroines, noting how their shared experiences have made them like sisters. He agrees, musing that their unique situation has created an unbreakable bond between them. His tutor then gets closer, playfully asking which of the three girls he likes the most. Vanitas calmly explains that he's never thought of them in terms of preference, as each one is precious to him. Touched by his sincere answer, Ashley tentatively asks if she is also considered precious to him. With a gentle smile, he confirms without hesitation that she is, creating a surprisingly tender moment between them. Ashley becomes flustered by his immediate answer, playfully complaining that she doesn't know how to react. Composing herself, she admits with a blush that he has become precious to her as well. Their moment is interrupted as Hildegard faints from sheer excitement, collapsing dramatically in the water. Vanitas and a startled Rabna turn to see the knight completely passed out from all the fun. Ashley calmly assesses the situation, asking Rabna to help her carry the overenthusiastic knight out of the bath. Seizing the opportunity, Vanitas turns to the still blushing Christina and makes a surprising request. The noblewoman asks if it's an order, but he quickly assures her it's just a simple favor, not a command. After a moment of hesitation, a deeply flustered Christina quietly agrees to his proposal. She begins washing his back, the atmosphere growing quiet until she tentatively calls out to her master. Gathering her courage, Christina asks if she can pose a question, to which he calmly invites her to speak. Christina asks why he pushes himself so hard, her voice full of genuine curiosity. He correctly guesses this question is the real reason she agreed to join him in the bath. His mind flashes back to the brutal training session with Ashley, a fight that nearly cost him everything. He explains that in a world filled with monsters and assassins, his life is always on the line. Clenching his fist, he declares his desperate need for the strength to protect what's important to him. He turns to a stunned Christina, directly confessing that she is one of those precious people. Vanitas then clarifies that Rabna, Hildegard, and even his tutor, Ashley, are all equally important to him. He vows to pay any price and gain limitless power if it means keeping them all safe. Taking her hand, he explains that this relentless effort is the very power he seeks. He looks away with grim determination, simply stating that he does it because he has to. Christina's eyes well up, her perception of her master completely transformed. The heroines watch him, finally understanding the heavy burden he carries alone. Later, as the girls leave the bath, Rabna quietly excuses herself, leaving a thoughtful silence. Vanitas remains in the water, his mind replaying the day's intense events. His expression is clouded, a silent testament to the difficult path that lies ahead. Meanwhile, his father, Ernst, questions a group of men about the purpose of their visit. He sits at the head of a long table, declaring to the assembled lords that he operates on a different level. Weeks after Vanitas' confession, Ernst has summoned the neighboring nobles for a crucial meeting. He then drops a bombshell, announcing he's invited the legendary Ashley Strayfall to their domain. The lords erupt in protest, shocked he would bring the infamous Phantom Ashley into their midst. He recalls how Ashley's power has always been misunderstood, earning her a lonely reputation among the nobility. Ernst listens to their protests with a cool demeanor, knowing their opposition was expected. One lord dismisses the meeting as a waste of time, threatening to leave if this is all Ernst has to say. The tension in the room is palpable, as the lesser nobles clearly feel they have the upper hand. But Ernst reminds himself that the Lindworm family is one of the oldest and most powerful, and these men are his vassals. He knows his family's reputation has been damaged by his own oddities and Vanitas' past cruelty. If he doesn't reassert his authority, he risks losing control of his entire domain, and he's keenly aware that many of the men in this room are secretly hoping for his downfall. A rival noble shifts the conversation, mockingly asking Ernst about his son's latest antics. He recounts the original Vanitas' arrogant behavior, reminding everyone of the trouble he caused for their families. Ernst's patience wears thin as he asks the nobles if they've finally finished their complaints. With a look of utter disdain, he tells the assembled lords that their noisy chatter is getting on his nerves. The other nobles are taken aback by his sudden assertiveness, wondering what's caused this drastic shift. He calmly acknowledges their poor opinion of Ashley and her unique magical abilities, but his eyes flash with a cold warning, forbidding them from ever interfering with his son's guest. He then reveals a shocking truth. He knows some of them have spies operating within his domain. Ernst declares that their little games are over, and he will no longer tolerate their insolence. A rival lord is stunned by this display of power, exclaiming that Ernst is acting like a completely different person. Ernst admits that if he has indeed changed, it's all thanks to the influence of his son. His mind flashes back to Vanitas' confession, recalling the moment his son revealed he was a reincarnated soul. Ernst asks his son how he plans to live, knowing the novel dictates a tragic end. Vanitas declares with confidence that he will live freely, just as his father does. His father is stunned, recalling how the original Vanitas' cruelty was a desperate cry against his own grief. Vanitas dismisses the past, stating the original's actions have nothing to do with the new soul in his body. He vows to achieve his goals no matter the cost, declaring that what he desires will be his. To defy his grim fate, he warns that he may have to take drastic and unexpected measures. He calmly explains that if his dark destiny cannot be stopped, there is only one solution. With his parents watching in horror, he suggests they should kill him now while they still can. Vanitas warns that if they hesitate, they risk unleashing another monster upon the world. Ernst challenges his son's motives, but Vanitas insists they have the right to judge the soul who stole their son's body. Vanitas drops another bombshell, suggesting he might be the one who caused the original soul to vanish. His father is stunned, realizing Vanitas is giving them one single chance to make their choice. As Vanitas waits for their decision, his father struggles to find the right words, finally asking for a moment to question him. Ernst asks why he would confess everything instead of simply pretending to be their son. His parents reveal that his honesty has only forced them to confront the painful truth that their real son is gone. Ernst clenches his fist, demanding to know why Vanitas is putting them through such agonizing emotional turmoil. In the face of their grief and anger, the new Vanitas remains completely silent. His father questions if this offer is genuine, asking if he's truly giving them the power to decide his fate. Vanitas simply stares back, his unwavering gaze confirming that their choice is real and absolute. Ernst finally understands that while this new soul resembles his son, they are fundamentally different people. He recalls the sincerity in the eyes of the monster who now wears his son's face. He resolves to see for himself what kind of future this new Vanitas will build. Back in the present, he coldly demands a rival noble explain the meaning behind his disrespectful words. The terrified lord scrambles to his feet, stammering out an apology for his past insolence. The other lords whisper in shock, marking this as the day Ernst Lindworm's reputation began to change. But Vanitas remains blissfully unaware of the shadowy world his father has just begun to conquer. Sometime later, Vanitas lets out a weary sigh, sitting alone outside a grand building. His tutor, Ashley, appears beside him, curiously asking why he's sighing. He explains he was simply thinking about how he wants to fully experience everything this new world has to offer. She questions if her lessons are unsatisfying, but he quickly reassures her their training is invaluable. Yet something more is needed. He admits his intense training has caused him to neglect the 3 heroines. Ashley agrees that after days of non-stop practice, he's earned a much-needed break. A brilliant idea strikes his tutor, who suggests a change of scenery. He takes her advice, leading the confused heroines on a surprise trip into town. In the bustling market, Hildegard marvels at the food stalls while Christina tries to keep her in check. Vanitas reflects that Ashley's idea was perfect, as this new world still feels fresh and exciting. When asked for a plan, he decides their first stop will be finding a delicious meal. He suddenly turns to a confused Christina, offering her his hand without a word. She questions his strange gesture, wondering why he'd want to hold hands in the middle of a crowded street. The noblewoman is left speechless, realizing he's suggesting they walk together like a couple. The noblewoman panics, declaring that holding hands is an intimate gesture reserved for lovers. He calmly questions her strong reaction, while she struggles to deny being flustered. She admits she's not mentally prepared for such closeness, and he quietly accepts her hesitation. Deciding not to push her, he turns his attention to a surprised Hildegard instead. As they explore the festive town, Vanitas reflects on how truly interesting this new world is. He reaffirms his vow to defy his dark destiny, walking forward with his new allies by his side. His ultimate goal is simple: to protect the bright, genuine smiles of the three heroines. He knows it will take time to change their fates, but he's determined not to rush the process. With a confident smile, he leads his companions through the streets, ready to enjoy their day together. But from the shadows of an alley, a mysterious boy with dark eyes watches their every move. He playfully asks a blushing Christina to feed him, clarifying it's a simple request, not a command. The group enjoys their meal together, though Christina is still embarrassed by the public display. Their day out takes place in the grand capital city of Harmonia, the heart of the Lindworm domain. Following Ashley's advice, they're having an elegant breakfast in the bustling city center. Vanitas reflects on the current peace, savoring this rare moment of calm with his companions. Christina remains flustered, still processing his earlier attempt to hold her hand. When asked about their next stop, he decides to visit a blacksmith he remembers from the novel. He leads them to a familiar weapon shop, noting it looks more dilapidated than he recalls. The mysterious boy from the alleyway greets them with a wary and dismissive attitude. Vanitas immediately confronts the boy, questioning if he recognizes him from somewhere. The boy reluctantly introduces himself as Marcus, the shopkeeper, and asks for their business. Vanitas tasks the surprised boy with choosing a dagger for him, putting his trust in the young blacksmith. Marcus nervously presents a unique dagger, explaining it's a rare item from their private collection. After a moment of consideration, Vanitas accepts the weapon, a plan already forming in his mind. He offers a generous payment of 10 gold coins, shocking Marcus with the exorbitant price. The young blacksmith holds the heavy pouch, stammering that the amount is far too much. Christina questions the dagger's utility, but Vanitas notes it's perfect for someone with his limited physical strength. He brushes off Hildegard's suggestion to use a family weapon, stating this one will do just fine for now. With their business concluded, Vanitas announces their next, far more unsettling destination, the slave market. His tone leaves no room for argument, a silent command hanging in the air. The three heroines are left utterly speechless by his shocking declaration. They arrive in a seedy part of town, a stark contrast to the bright city center. A woman with a sly smile greets him, remarking that it's been a long time. He calmly addresses the woman by name, and she responds with a knowing chuckle. The proprietor's words trigger a painful memory for Christina, who recoils in shock. She recounts how the original Vanitas took an interest in the noble girl who sold herself to save her family. The woman then asks why he's returned, especially with his three favorite companions in tow. She offers to show him the newest merchandise, gesturing towards two shackled girls. He coldly informs her he's not buying today and demands she call him Vanitas from now on. The woman scoffs, amused by his sudden attempt to act like a grown-up. Vanitas ignores her condescending tone, his gaze fixed as he states the reason for his visit. He then calls a nervous Christina to step forward, singling her out from the group. The noblewoman's mind races with a terrifying thought: he's brought them here to sell them back. But he immediately shuts down her assumption, his voice firm and unwavering. With a determined gesture, he announces his true intention: to change their slave contracts. He looks directly at a stunned Christina, demanding the proprietor redo her contract specifically.